one thing that's kind of intrigued me a little bit is wrestling's past, especially time periods like the Attitude Era. And as a
Yeah,
man of faith, I've got to ask because I assume you are a lifelong wrestling fan.
yeah,
When you look back at some of the stuff, Vince McMahon versus God, the Ministry of Darkness,
yeah.
Stephanie and Austin being sacrificed. I've got to ask,
So
how do you look back on that sort of stuff and that content?
I'm going to give a controversial answer to Christians. I think it's all fantastic still,
Yeah.
and I think this is where the church maybe needs to open its eyes a little bit.
Hmm.
We talk a lot within church circles. If you've ever been to church, you'll hear us talking about. I literally did a devotion on it at Food Bank this morning. We talk about there being evil in the world and there being powers at work against us, and kind of being in this wrestling match with darkness in the world, and for us to be light and salt and for us to be different. You only stand out when there's darkness all around.
Yeah.
You only stand out when other people are losing their heads. You only stand out when you have something different to offer. And that's where the church should have always been positioned, as being the light on the hill, the salt and light of the world, being different. I can't be a hero if I don't have a villain. I can't take you on a story and a narrative of overcoming if I've got nothing to overcome.
Yeah.
So you have to have that balance of, and this is great storytelling. You've got to build the heel up for the hero to overcome. You've got to build a hero up for the villain to overcome them. It's all about balance, and yes, good wins in the end. Good always wins in the end. But you've still got to have that roller coaster, that turmoil. Like the guy who eventually beats Roman is set. Like if
Who
you
do
get
think
the
it's gonna
right
be?
guy.
Who do you think it's going to
Oh,
be?
good question. Good question. I felt they should have pulled the trigger with Cody.
I do. Finish the story.
I
That's should have happened.
finish the story, and I think I unfortunately Cody, maybe even now Punk, Seth. There's so many guys who have peaked at the wrong time because they've got this story they're telling with Roman. They know where it's going and they know when it's going to end. I think they've already got it tuned in.
Next year WrestleMania, I think.
Next year at WrestleMania, I don't think it should be The Rock.
Oh God, no. Don't get me wrong, love The Rock, one of the greatest of all time. I mean, he makes some really
Yeah.
bad films these days, but I do not
Yep.
want to come back when you've got young talent out there. Even CM Punk, he's not been back for like 10
Yep.
years. He can still wrestle, but Rock come back,
Yeah.
beating Roman Reigns after 3-4 years of being positioned as the top guy, does nothing for the future, nothing for the roster. I don't want it to happen,
Benefits no one.
but I wouldn't be
I
surprised.
think I would have liked it to have been Jay. I think Jey Uso would have been that's a star in the making
Mhm.
if they'd have done that. It keeps the story well knitted,
Mhm.
kind of keeps it all together. And then Jay can then move on to Cody or Seth or whoever, and Roman can then go on to The Rock and deal with that issue. And then you've got Roman occupied, so he doesn't go chasing Jay again immediately. That's kind of one of the ideas I would have fantasy booked.